And that's also something we have to start to have the courage to do, is once we see that reality based on the new perception we have, once we see this reality, we have to have the courage to go out there and get what that fantasy looked like. We're not stuck here. You're not stuck here. Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. And Mama forgot to mention, a place where I give you tips on dating, love, romance, the whole 9 yards, and how to navigate this crazy dating world. So we all have been there. We all know the initial feeling of meeting an interest. You know, you have spark, you have chemistry, and if you're not careful, they can come together in this crazy ass fantasy that will combust right before your face and his and mine and everybody else's. So today I am here to urge you to do what? Temper that enthusiasm. Temper that excitement. No, I am not saying that you can't be excited, you can't be hopeful. But what I am saying is that we need to figure out a way to bring that back down to the level of reality. Because I have a girlfriend who always says, should I be excited? By all means, be excited. But take that excitement, and as you move forward with this person, start to use what you see and what you observe and what you know to temper that back down to a place of, reality. And that's what gets us in trouble. It's the fantasy. We buy into the perception. We buy into the story we have made in our head, the idea. We start to value that more than we are valuing what's right in front of us. And that's what gets us in trouble and our feelings hurt and our heart broken and so on and so forth. Is that we have an attachment to a concept, really. And so your question is, how do we begin to temper that fantasy? How do we begin to bring ourselves back down to reality? You temper your fantasy by updating your perception. And what's crazy is perception is reality. So in the beginning, you had this perception of this person that was just a good picture. That was your reality of this person. But as time progressed, reality has become to show you a different perception of this person. This is your new reality. And with that new reality and that new perception you have to update this fantasy over here and bring it a little bit closer to this side. And you do that a lot until you are at the point where you're like, you know what? This reality isn't for me. Or this reality is for me. And that's also something we have to start to have the courage to do, is once we see that reality based on the new perception we have, once we see this reality, we have to have the courage to go out there and get what that fantasy looked like. We're not stuck here. You're not stuck here. You just have to debunk this with this. You kind of get what I'm saying there? Here's an example. Fantasy. Y'all are perfect because y'all go to church together. Y'all have the same level of prayer life and the same love for God. But at the same time, you just met this awesome young lady, this awesome male who you're friends with in the singles ministry. And they keep talking about this person. So wait, are you dating this person? What? That's reality. Fantasy. Your father would love them because they're just as much of a sports enthusiast as your dad. But that sports enthusiast, that's all he wants to do, is watch sports, play sports, have you sit there every Sunday watching him with him. And what you're fine doing, you gonna go for his team. Yeah, you all gung ho, right? But he refuses to take part in anything that interests you. That's reality. No, girl, he's not gonna go to that cooking class. No, girl, he's not gonna go on that hike. He don't want to do any of that. He don't want to play putt. Get over that. He wants to be all about his sports. He wants to be all about him, and he wants you to be all about him, but he don't want to be about you. So you look at somebody's interest in you, and you start to bring that fantasy back down to the place where it needs to be, y'all. We get so freaking attached to potential, and we value that over the work that's being put in. I love that Matthew Hussey says, invest, then test. And I like it because it actually holds both parties accountable. It's not me just standing there watching you invest. It's not you just standing there watching me invest. It's us both putting in the in our part, and then standing back and seeing if you're meeting me. So if I'm putting in all of this and you're just standing there, and I'm coming forward and you're just standing there, there's no progression on your side, it's all one-sided. It's all me doing all the work. And at some point, if you have common sense or any sense of self-worth, you got to start feeling like a fool if that's what you're doing. It's okay to give a little in the beginning. It's okay to give a little bit more, but then pull it back to see if they're giving a little bit too. And that's how you start to temper that enthusiasm and that excitement. You start to see, okay, I did this, but wait a minute. You weren't willing enough to meet me here. It goes back to my first video for what Mama forgot to mention on consistency. You know, somebody who's interested is going to put forth the effort. That person is going to be consistent in putting forth the effort. That's what interest is. And so if that person's putting forth the effort, by all means continue. But you put forth, you test. They put forth, they test. And you guys meet in the middle. Okay? So y'all don't go out here being all excited and gung-ho and doing everything under the sun. I've been there, and it gets you nowhere. I ain't gonna say I was necessarily heartbroken, but you start to feel like a fool / a little bit of an ass. All human, we learn as we go, and it is my hope that you have learned something from this. You guys, if this was good to you, please share with a friend. Please like it, subscribe, do what you do. The link to my website is down below. You can too get you one of these nice cocktails. Y'all, this is just a glass of wine like I showed you in the beginning of the video. But there's a couple, you know, handcrafted cocktails there you can sip on as you are reading the book. Who Does That? Lessons Learned from an Epically Disastrous Dating Life. And all Mama forgot to mention, you guys, I tell you stories of my foolery and my tragic dating life in that book. I urge you to go get it so you don't make the same mistakes I made. That's the point of all this. If I could save one soul, okay, from being silly, I will. Anywho, and I really want you guys just to live the best life that you possibly can. With all of that being said, you all, Happy New Year and XO.